Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels, where I'm going to teach you how to make a simple, delicious meal on a budget using a butane stove. Now, I happen to have a double burner stove here, but I also use a single burner stove. So come on, join me, and I'm going to show you how to make something yummy and simple today. Come on, let's join me. Today, I'm going to make something that I call poor man's steak. Now, it's not ribeye or porterhouse, but it's going to taste so good, you're going to think it's better than that. I'm just using a pound of ground beef. I'm going to also, for the meat, I'm going to use a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise. And that's kind of like the egg that'll put it or hold it together. I'm going to use some garlic, minced garlic, and I'm going to use some minced onion, but I've dehydrated it. I did this because if you're in a rig, it's so much easier to just have them minced. If you want fresh, you can, but this will work well too. But do rehydrate it, and you can see that this has been rehydrated. Then I'm also going to use some seasoned salt, and then I like to use any kind of crackers you have. I had some chicken in a biscuit, and I really love the flavor of these. So I'm going to use these, but you can use saltine. You can use even breadcrumbs, croutons, but I'm going to use some of these crushed up, about maybe, I'd say maybe a cup full of these with a pound of ground beef. So come on, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. Now, I wanted to show you this before I put this in with the meat. This is my crackers, and you don't have to have all fancy-dancy kind of equipment. I just put this in a simple Ziploc bag, put it down, and just smashed it up, and that's my crackers. So I'm going to pour this in here. That's about a cup or so. And oops, one little guy didn't get broken up. And then I'm going to add some mayonnaise in here. A couple of tablespoons of mayonnaise. Now, I'm not adding the Worcestershire sauce to this. I'm going to make a sauce which is going to have gravy, easy packaged gravy, a bit of Worcester, I'm just going to say it W sauce because you guys know I have a problem with that word, and some ketchup, and that's it. So, but I'll come back and show you on the sauce. Let me add some of my seasoned salt here. Be careful I don't add too much. And do this to taste, depending on how salty you like your food. And then I'm going to add my onions here. Oops, got my fingers here. We're not fancy here. And then I'm just going to mix this all up. Now I may need to add a little more, let me get this over here, a little more mayonnaise. And then I'm just going to make these into about 5 burgers or 5 steaks. We're going to call them steaks. That's right, I forgot. Steaks. But get the cracker all mixed up in there good. And I think I'm going to add just a tad bit more mayonnaise and just a little bit more seasoned salt. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make patties, and I'm going to set them aside, and I'll show you how to make, let me add a little bit more mayonnaise. I'm going to do it from this way so you can see it. Huh? Can I do it from this way? Can you see that? About another, maybe another tablespoonful. There we go. I'll show you this. Just a little bit more to give it a little more zest and flavor. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more of my, oops, I have to do it this way. a little bit more of the seasoned salt, and we're good to go here. It's just simple. You see how the crackers are all mixed up in there? The onions all in here. If you want, you could add anything else you want. You could add mushrooms, you could add bell pepper, but this is just a simple, simple dish. Now, I'm going to make these patties, and I will come back in a minute and show you what they look like. Now, let me show you something, what I do on these packaged gravies. I always start it out in cold water, about a half a cup of cold water here. And then I stir it until it's nice and creamy and smooth because I don't want any lumps. And then I still have a little bit of, I didn't completely stir it up because I wanted you all to see. Now I get all of the powdery stuff mixed in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then take this and I'm going to mix it into a cup, about a cup and a half of boiling water. Because if you put it into hot water, mix it with hot water, so you have the powder in here, mix it with about a half a cup of cold water, and then I'm going to just mix it slowly into my hot water, and that's going to make my gravy. When I use the powder, then I'm going to mix this up, and that's going to thicken up. I'm going to put a little bit of it now that it's all mixed up. I'll put a little bit, oops, got the back side of this dish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my gas back on and let this, can you see how it's starting to thicken up here in the bottom here? But I'm going to continually stir this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of, I changed my gloves because I had them all full of the raw meat. So I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of ketchup in here. Oops, that's not a very pleasant sound. And then get that stirred up. And then I'm going to add, after I get that done, let's get that mixed up really well. Then I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, because I don't want it to be too overpowering. About a tablespoon of the W sauce. I'm going to mix this up, but I'm going to turn this on low here while I'm mixing this. And you see this gravy, how it's thickening up. And if you want it a little thinner, you can add more water. Oh, by the way, I used water today, but you can use chicken broth. But I would suggest using the low sodium chicken broth if you're going to. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a tablespoon of minced garlic. So that's about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And let this get mixed up in here. Okay. Now the very last thing I'm going to do, oops, that's getting a little bit too thick. Let me get it a little bit thinner here. Okay. Okay. Now the very last thing I'm going to do here is, oops, my flame went out. I'll have to fix that. I am going to come in here and I'm going to add my Poorman'S steak here. And I'm going to cover this with the gravy. And then I'm going to add the last one after I get these all covered, because I needed a little room to maneuver here. Then I'm going to add my last Poorman'S steak here. Fit it in there. Okay, get this covered with my gravy. And then I'm going to cover this and let these cook. And let me get these covered here. And these are going to get my flame back on. And we're going to be coming back shortly, and I'll show you what they look like. I probably will turn them over about midway through, but we'll be back and I'll show you what they look like. All right, I've been checking this and I turned it over and look at this. Oh my goodness, this is delicious looking. About 15 minutes or so. I'd say a few more minutes just to make sure it's good and done. But you see the garlic in here, and it smells divine. Oh my goodness. I challenge you to come up with a ribeye that tastes better than this poor man's steak. Well, we'll be back, and I've got some mashed potatoes and green beans. Oh yeah, we'll be back. Well, it looks like everything is done. Look at this. Ooh, that smells delicious. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to plate it up and sample it. That's my favorite part. But before I do that, I just wanted to tell you really quickly, I did this today because, again, it's economical, it's quick, and if you don't have a lot of experience cooking, these are two products that I have used and I really like them. And that's the Glory green beans. I think I've shared this before. So I'm going to have that with this dinner. And also, my brother Donald hipped me to these Idahoan potatoes. They come in all different flavors, 3 cheese, roasted garlic. They're so delicious. It calls for water, but I usually use it with chicken broth and a little bit of butter, and you can even add cheese or different things, but these are so simple, so easy, so quick. So we'll be back and I'm going to show you and sample everything. Oh boy. Oh, this is looking so good. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some mashed potatoes on this fork with me, or with my meat rather. Oh. Some mashed potatoes, some poor man's steak. Oh yeah. Say my blessing and we're good to go. That is delicious. Oh yeah. I'm even going to put a string bean or two on here. I'm going to have it all together at the same time. No ribeye steak can compare with this. I'm not kidding, really, it's that good. Well, you know what? I'm going to stop and say goodbye. Otherwise, I'll keep eating and I won't stop. But thank you, thank you, thank you. We are just rolling along here on our way to 20,000. And I'm going to bring you with me every step of the way because I am so grateful to you. Thank you so much. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings. We are going to be doing some fun things. I'm always trying to think of things to engage my viewers and my globies because I just adore you. And I was thinking that, you know, maybe once a month or so, I'm going to feature a viewer with a channel or a business or something that you want to share and you'd like to get a little attention for on my channel. And one of the first people I'm going to share is going to be someone who is an artist. And she did a sketch of me. So she's going to share that. But we're not going to have a live this Saturday. So Saturday coming up will not be a live because I will be out in the field far out of the area where I can get internet or know how to get internet. And I don't want a debacle. So I'll be back in another week. So no live this week, but I'll be back. We will have a special guest. And I'm going to come up with, if you have some ideas on how I can pick who's going to be the Globee that I'll feature, put them in the comments and let me have some ideas so that I can see how, play with this and see how it'll work out. But anyhow, again, I'm going to say goodbye for a second time. Goodbye. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.